Greetings, Auto Subs, VideoJames, and as some of you who follow Doctor Who may know, they're making the 13th Doctor a girl. I forget the name of the actor, but they're making the 13th Doctor a girl, and this sent a lot of outrage up in the community, but it also made me go back and question which Doctor was truly the best. And it took me a little bit of research and a little bit of conducting on my own, but I finally determined that, in my opinion, 10 and 9 were honestly the best Doctor, mainly because, 1, they were kind of the same, and 2, they were basically better than all the rest of them. So, before I start this video, I'm gonna say that this is only my opinion, this is only the reason why I think he are the better ones, and this is only the Doctor Who's that are still on TV. This is only the, I guess, reintroduced version of Doctor Who, where it wasn't all in the old Doctor Who. But anyway, this is just going to be my reasons for why I think David Tennant and Chris Esselstyn were honestly the best Doctors. And while I agree, Matt Smith did have some good parts in the beginning of Season 5, and possibly some part of Season 6, he honestly kind of started to go down once Clara was introduced, and and Capaldi kind of just didn't really have the Doctor kind of thing to him. So anyway, so the first thing I'm going to talk about with why David Tennant was the best Doctor is he was more Doctor-ish than the other ones. So with David Tennant as the Doctor, he tried to actually help more species and give them a chance to not do bad things before he had to actually fight them. As we saw in the episode The Runaway Bride with the Rathalos, he gave them a chance to follow him to another planet where they could live in peace, but the Rathalos didn't want to listen. Arachnos. Did I say Rathalos? I meant Arachnos. But the Arachnos didn't want to listen, and he had to just end up using their own weapons to destroy them, or specifically the Queen. And while he doesn't do this every time, the 10th Doctor and the 9th Doctor do occasionally try to help before they have to end up fighting. However, when it comes to an enemy like the Daleks or the Cybermen, they don't really try and help unless it's like the very beginning of the species and they just try and stop it from happening. Then they try and fight. And with Matt Smith, it really doesn't seem like he tries to help anything. It seems like he just gets instantly amazed by stuff, and then he just goes instantly to trying to find a way to either destroy them or stop them or just run away. And with Capaldi, it was basically an overwhelming sense of, okay, how do I get rid of this thing? I need to get rid of this. There is no saving this creature. And that isn't the Doctor's way. The Doctor never always tried to kill something. He always tried to help people. That, even in his motto, never be cruel, never be cowardly, and if you are, always make amends, the Doctor always tries to help before actually hurting somebody. And the second reason I think Tennant was honestly a better Doctor was because he was more hands-on, and so was Esselstyn. That both of those Doctors didn't rely as much on the sonic screwdriver as Smith and Capaldi, and honestly, they did kind of feel more like the original Doctors in that sense, that they didn't always have to rely on their sonic screwdrivers, and they were able to do stuff without having to use it. That Tennant and Esselstyn both used more parts of the TARDIS than Smith and Capaldi combined. That Smith and Capaldi basically just used the scanner and the telepathic circuits, whereas Tennant and Esselstyn used so many more parts like the extrapolator, the Huon particles inside of the TARDIS, and blowing up the TARDIS to actually save themselves in the Christmas Red Nose special. But if any of you have ever seen the original Doctor Who's, specifically I think it was the 7th Doctor, or the one that's always wearing the vegetable, he always used to work hands-free, that he always tried to use the sonic screwdriver as a last resort. And a lot of the Doctors tried to do that they didn't always have to rely on the sonic screwdriver. And another reason Tennant is actually a better Doctor is he seems more cohesive than all the other ones. That with Smith, it seemed like he was instantly amazed because he forgot everything, and he was constantly forgetting, and Capaldi just felt like a completely new person who was trying to figure out who he was, that he didn't really feel like the Doctor anymore. He felt just kind of like a shadow of a former presence, that he's just trying to travel around the universe and learn everything again, just so that he can become the Doctor once more. And while I understand that as a kind of way to use the regeneration concept, that Capaldi was the Doctor's extended regeneration, so he is kind of a new character, so everything kind of rebooted, that even in the end of Season 10, we saw Capaldi had like that little regeneration mark on his forehead, and that kind of revived all of his old memories. And it even made a reference to Tennant, where Capaldi said, "I don't want to go," which is what the 10th Doctor said right before he regenerated. And then another part about the Tennant and Esselstyn Doctors that was kind of better was the comedy. That the comedy wasn't as shoehorned in with them as it was with the other Doctors. That with Matt Smith and Capaldi, they kind of had to dedicate a whole 15 seconds or minute to comedy, whereas Tennant and Esselstyn were able to kind of just work it in smoothly and just kind of float it in for about 5 seconds or so and get just like a little laugh, and it wouldn't be focusing too much of the time on. And that is something that you see a lot of the times with Capaldi and Smith, that the comedy was kind of taking up too much time for what they were. That even the small jokes usually took about half a minute, and that kind of doesn't really make the comedy worth it, because it kind of has to explain the joke a little bit, and it just really kind of seems like the comedy wasn't really worked in. And then the final part of why David Tennant and Chris Esselstyn were honestly the best Doctors was because they regretted what had happened before they regenerated. So, if you don't know, Chris Esselstyn and David Tennant were the last two regenerations after the Time War. So, after the Time War, when the Doctor had to, spoilers, destroy Gallifrey, Esselstyn and Tennant were the last two regenerations after the War Doctor, aka John Hurt. And honestly, they kind of felt an overdue sense of obligation to help the universe because of their regret. That they didn't want whatever had happened to their planet to happen to any other planet or any other species. And I feel like Smith and Capaldi kind of lost this. That Capaldi, it kind of just became obsessed with helping a few small people here and there, that it just became obsessed with helping a few tiny people and just staying out of sight. And Smith, he only really focused on helping something when it was actually hurt or dying. And I honestly don't feel like that was a good way to run the Doctor, that I feel like he should have tried to help no matter what if he saw anything was wrong, just like some sort of little niche of not rightness somewhere, that he would go instantly and look at it like he did with Esselstyn and Tennant. But anyway, that's going to be it for my reasons why I think Tennant was the best Doctor. Again, this was only an opinion video. This was only opinion-based. It was only my opinion. I don't know if any of you guys will feel the same way, but if you do, let me know down in the comments, and if you have any other differing opinions, just let me know in the comments as well. And if you did like this video, you can slap the like button as always, and I will see all you beautiful people in the next video.